Number 10, the curse of overconnection. Your brain's job is to find patterns. That's great when you're tracking tiger footprints in the mud. Less great when you start connecting your coworker's text timing to the stock market. Smart brains don't switch off. They connect everything, even when nothing's there. It's called apophenia, seeing patterns in random noise. Artists call it creativity. Scientists call it hypothesis generation. And conspiracy theorists call it Tuesday. The smarter you are, the better your brain gets at pattern spotting, and the worse it gets at knowing when to stop. It's like having a search engine with no "I'm feeling lucky" button. It just keeps digging until it finds something that feels meaningful. That's why high IQ people are statistically more prone to magical thinking. The same circuitry that sees beauty in chaos also invents secret codes in static. Basically, genius is just controlled pareidolia, a hallucination with good PR. Number 9. When the dots start lying back. Imagine walking into a room and spotting a hidden pattern on the wallpaper. Most people glance and move on. A pattern-addicted brain, it stays there, decoding like it's the zodiac cipher. The mind loves closure. It hates gaps. So when smart people spot an empty space between dots, the brain fills it in with a story, even if it has to invent one. That's why scientists overfit data. Detectives chase fake leads. And that one guy on Reddit can turn a shadow on Mars into proof of civilization. It's not stupidity, it's over-efficiency. A clever brain refuses to accept randomness. To intelligence, coincidence feels like failure, so it creates meaning out of noise just to stay sane. Ironically, this same instinct drives both scientific breakthroughs and mass delusions. The difference between "I discovered a new particle" and "I discovered a government mind ray" is mostly peer review and luck. Basically, when your IQ goes up, your tolerance for uncertainty goes down. And the smarter you are, the harder it gets to say 3 simple words, "I don't know." Number 8, the beautiful trap of pattern dopamine. Your brain doesn't just see patterns, it rewards them. Every time you connect 2 ideas, even if they're nonsense, your brain drips a little dopamine hit. It's the same chemical rush gamblers get when the slot machine lights up. Except here, the jackpot is I made sense of the universe. And the machine is your frontal cortex. That's why intellectual people love puzzles, theories, even conspiracy threads. It's not about truth. It's about closure. The moment something clicks, the brain throws a mini celebration, even if what just clicked was wrong. That's how cults, cargo religions, and quantum woo are born. Someone smart connects too many dots, gets high on meaning, and forgets to check the math. And the real trap, the smarter you are, the better your brain becomes at making patterns feel correct. You're not protected by intelligence. You're weaponized by it. Your neurons don't care if it's true. They care if it feels true, which means the next time you find yourself whispering, "Wait, what if it's all connected?" Congratulations, you just rolled the mental dice. Number 7. The genius delusion. Here's the paradox. The smarter you are, the easier it is to fool yourself. Convincingly, because intelligence isn't a truth detector. It's a lawyer for whatever you already believe. Most people believe things first, then rationalize later. But high IQ minds, they just rationalize better. They build elaborate, bulletproof arguments around emotional hunches and call it critical thinking. That's why some of the world's most brilliant scientists, mathematicians, and philosophers have fallen for absolute nonsense. From numerology obsessions to energy healing pyramids, their logic wasn't broken. It was too good at defending bad ideas. The smarter the brain, the better the illusion. It cherry-picks evidence like a seasoned prosecutor and buries contradictions under 10 layers of vocabulary. Soon you're not searching for truth. You're curating a personal religion of cleverness. And the worst part, it feels amazing. Certainty always does. That's why intelligence doesn't protect you from delusion. It just makes your delusions more sophisticated. Basically, you stop asking, "Am I right?" and start asking, "How right am I?" Spoiler, that's the exact moment you lose. Number 6. When curiosity becomes compulsion. Curiosity built civilization, and also most internet rabbit holes. It's the same mental engine, just one more link, one more source. One more connection. Before you know it, You're 3 hours deep in a theory about pigeons being government drones. Smart people don't get stuck because they're gullible. They get stuck because they care. Their curiosity is on overdrive, and the brain rewards searching more than finding. So even when the answer shows up, it's not satisfying. It just triggers the next question. In neuroscience, that's called the seeking loop, a dopamine circuit that keeps you chasing novelty instead of contentment. For most people, that leads to endless scrolling. For pattern addicts, it leads to building mental mazes they can't escape from. Einstein once said, "You're none to mein Surname." The important thing is not to stop questioning. Beautiful quote. Terrible life advice if you want peace of mind. Because for some, if the question becomes the addiction. And when your mind can't stop connecting dots, even chaos starts to look like design. That's not curiosity anymore. That's cognitive hunger. And it doesn't care what it eats. Number 5, seeing the signal that isn't there. Picture this. You're staring at a static-filled TV screen, and suddenly you see a face, not because it's there, but because your brain refuses to accept randomness. This isn't imagination, it's pareidolia. Your pattern recognition system glitching in real time. The same process that lets you read facial expressions or predict danger also makes you spot ghosts in curtains and aliens in clouds. Smart minds have an even bigger problem. Their pattern filters are hyper-tuned. They detect subtler signals, smaller coincidences, deeper symmetries, which means they find meaning faster and false meaning more often. To them, the noise is never just noise. It's potential data. It's a mystery. It's something, and once they've labeled it, the brain can't unsee it. That's why intelligent pattern seekers can believe they've uncovered secret messages, higher orders, or divine math behind chaos. They're not crazy. They're too analytical. Their brains mistake correlation for causation and reward themselves for the effort. In the end, they're fighting the most dangerous illusion of all, not the one the world creates, but the one their mind needs to create to feel in control. Number 4, the loneliness of over-patterning. There's a side effect to seeing too much meaning. You start drifting away from everyone else. When your brain spots invisible threads between words, gestures, numbers, coincidences, people stop feeling like people. They start feeling like variables in your equation. The smarter and more analytical the mind, the harder it gets to tolerate randomness or other people's randomness. You begin to think, why don't they see it? That's when alienation kicks in. It's not arrogance, it's exhaustion. Because if your brain is always decoding, the world becomes mental noise, a puzzle that never shuts up. You can't relax because meaning is everywhere, and your neurons treat every coincidence like a clue. Ironically, that's how paranoia starts. Not from fear, but from overanalysis. You see too much, understand too fast, connect too deep, and suddenly, reality stops feeling real. That's why some of the most brilliant thinkers in history lived isolated lives. They weren't antisocial. They were simply outnumbered by patterns no one else could see. The tragedy of high intelligence isn't being misunderstood. It's being unable to stop understanding. Number 3, when genius turns into superstition. Here's the cruel twist. When logic fails to explain a pattern, even the smartest minds reach for magic. It's not weakness, it's biology. Your brain hates loose ends so much, it would rather invent invisible forces than admit ignorance. That's why some scientists believe in lucky pens. CEOs wear the same tie to every deal. And mathematicians swear the universe feels rigged. It's not madness, it's comfort. A ritual is just an algorithm written in emotion. The human mind would rather worship the unknown than leave it undefined. Because I don't know feels like death to a brain addicted to order. So even geniuses start making offerings to chance. They just call it intuition, a hunch, or a gut model. You can run from superstition all you want, but the moment your rational brain hits a paradox, your ancient brain whispers, maybe it's a sign, and just like that, you've created your own religion of logic, one where the equations pray back. Number 2, the pattern that eats itself. There's a point where meaning becomes noise again, where the brain's need to organize chaos collapses into chaos itself. It's called pattern overload. You've seen it in genius mathematicians who go mad, in conspiracy theorists who fill walls with red string, And in that one friend who insists every breakup is a cosmic lesson from the universe. When the mind connects too many dots, it starts forming loops, systems that explain everything and therefore explain nothing. It's like zooming in on a fractal until you can't tell if you're discovering structure or just hallucinating it. For high intelligence brains, this is a kind of self-destruction they can't stop solving, even when the puzzle is their own sanity, because deep down, the act of connecting gives purpose. And without purpose, even clarity feels like death. That's the quiet horror of pattern addiction. It doesn't end with discovery. It ends when the pattern finds you. Number 1. The final illusion, meaning itself. Here's the ultimate paradox. Every human, smart or not, is addicted to meaning. We can't survive without it. But meaning itself, that sense of cosmic order, of everything happens for a reason, is just the biggest pattern our species ever invented. Our ancestors saw storms and thought, someone must be angry. Today or to raid. We see algorithms and think, someone must be in control. Different century, same reflex. The truth. The universe isn't hiding a secret code. It's just noise. Glorious, terrifying, beautiful noise. And intelligence doesn't free us from it. It just lets us build prettier hallucinations. Maybe that's what consciousness really is. The brain's refusal to accept chaos, our constant attempt to decorate randomness with purpose, to convince ourselves that existence makes sense because we need it too. So the next time your mind whispers, it all connects, maybe it's right, just not in the way you think. Because the greatest pattern you'll ever find is the one your brain created to make sure you never stop looking. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future, exploring the strange, dark psychology behind how humans think, believe, read in a and hallucinate order. Subscribe to Hidden Reflex to stay curious, skeptical, and just paranoid enough to stay awake.